In the summer of 1960, the world's fastest man walked into the Olympic Village in Rome to compete for a gold medal. What almost nobody knew was that he wasn't just there to run. He was there on a secret assignment from the CIA, recruited months earlier in a darkened hotel room in Washington, D.C., to do something no Olympic athlete had ever been asked to do before: convince his Soviet competitors to defect. The Olympics have always been sold to us as a space above politics, a place where nations set aside their conflicts and simply compete. That was never entirely true. And in 1960, the Cold War quietly walked straight into the Olympic Village. Before we get into this one, if you're new here, welcome. This channel covers real declassified operations and the stories hidden behind events the world thought it already understood. If stories like this are your kind of thing, consider subscribing so you don't miss the next one. And if you've got a theory about how deep this kind of thing still runs today, I'd genuinely like to read it in the comments. Now, let's get into what actually happened in Rome. By 1960, the Cold War had already reshaped nearly every corner of global politics, except officially, the Olympics. Since the Soviet Union first entered the Games in 1952, both Washington and Moscow understood something the rest of the world was slower to admit. The Olympics were propaganda, whether anyone called it that or not. A gold medal wasn't just a personal achievement. It was proof, broadcast to the entire world, that one system was superior to the other. And for the CIA, the Games represented something even more valuable than medals: access. Thousands of Soviet citizens gathered in one place outside their own country's borders for weeks at a time. The agency saw an opportunity too good to ignore. In late 1959, an American sprinter named Dave Syme received a phone call asking him to meet at the Willard Hotel in Washington, D.C. Syme wasn't just any athlete. Journalists had nicknamed him the fastest man on earth. And he'd already turned down offers to play professional football and baseball to focus on track. When he arrived at the hotel, he found a darkened room and a man with an unplaceable accent. The conversation that followed set in motion what would later be documented as Operation Aerodynamic. A CIA plan to use American Olympic athletes to build personal relationships with their Soviet counterparts with one long-term goal: identify athletes who might be persuaded to defect to the West. Syme wasn't the only one contacted. Fellow track athlete Al Cantello later described a similarly strange encounter of his own. A mysterious stranger, a drink he suspected wasn't quite what it seemed, and careful questions about which Soviet athletes might be unhappy with life back home. By the time the Games opened in Rome, the CIA had built its plan around a specific target: Igor Ovanesyan, a Soviet long jumper. Syme was tasked with getting close to him, and it worked, at least at first. The two athletes struck up what seemed like a genuine friendship during training, talking for hours, sharing meals. But when Syme tried to arrange a meeting between Ovanesyan and a CIA officer, everything fell apart. The approach was clumsy and intimidating. Ovanesyan, alarmed, fled the meeting entirely. He wasn't secretly unhappy in the Soviet Union, as the CIA had assumed. He described quite contentedly his apartment, his car, his teaching position at a Soviet sports university. The operation had misjudged him completely. Separately, the CIA also worked with a group of Ukrainian émigrés in Rome, led by a controversial figure with his own dark wartime past. tasked with quietly approaching Soviet-Ukrainian athletes and tourists throughout the Games, distributing propaganda and searching for anyone willing to walk away from the Soviet delegation. Rome wasn't an isolated case. Historians have since traced CIA activity connected to the Olympics as far back as the 1952 Helsinki Games, through a CIA-funded group working with exiled Eastern European athletes. And the intersection of sports and intelligence didn't end when the Cold War did. Decades later, at the 1972 Munich Games, a catastrophic failure of intelligence and security allowed the massacre of 11 Israeli athletes. A tragedy that forced the world to confront just how real the risks at the Olympics truly were. And in more recent games, the battlefield shifted from hotel rooms to computer servers, with state-linked hacking groups breaching anti-doping databases and leaking confidential athlete medical records as a form of geopolitical retaliation. Operation Aerodynamic officially failed. Ter never defected. No Soviet athlete recruited under the program ever did. But the operation revealed something the world still hasn't fully reckoned with. The Olympics were never simply a stage for athletes. They were, and by many accounts, still are, one of the only places on Earth where citizens of rival nations are guaranteed to stand in the same room unguarded for weeks at a time. And wherever that kind of access exists, intelligence agencies have never been far behind. So the next time you watch an opening ceremony, ask yourself this: how many of the people in that stadium are really just there to compete? If this kind of hidden history is what you come here for, hit subscribe so you catch the next one the moment it drops. And if this one surprised you, a like on this video genuinely helps more people find it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.